From the Fathead Studio in Speedway, Indiana, this is The Skinny.
Man, am I still pretty? And he's like, you ain't pretty, but you're going to be all right.
And now I'm just hanging on, looking at the wall, like flying this way. And I'm like, oh man, I got to let go of this thing at some point.
And then there's one that could literally pick you up.
Yeah.
It's
I'm not really sure about that, but yeah.
That's called a helicopter.
Well,
And the last lap was just chaos. I mean, like 4 wide, 5 wide.
It's like whatever. If you land it and send it into the fence, you're probably not going to get hurt. Bounce and then this insane roll. The car that Keegan was in. I mean, I don't know, it's the shape of the Beetle or what, but that thing sent it.
So I was the supercharger specialist on my old man's car with
Specialist?
Yeah, it sounds cooler than crew guy.
Hi, I'm Tony Stewart.
I'm Mario Andretti.
I'm Christy Lee.
I'm Alexander Rossi.
I'm Cruz Pedregon.
I'm Davey Hamilton.
Well, I'm the original Davey Hamilton, and this is The Skinny.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to The Skinny. We've got a great show coming your way here once again from Speedway, Indiana, and the Fatheads Eyewear Studios. I'm Ken Stout, the big man sitting alongside there. That is Rico Elmore, and once again, we will have the track dude running all of the controls, Mr. Michael Young. Great to have you with us, my friend. Hey, we got an exciting show with 2 guests sitting side by side. They are father-son, Davey Jr. and Davey Sr. Great stuff. Welcome to the show. Now, Davey, I got to figure that. So we just called, let's just clear this up. This is not Davey. This is DJ to the whole world. So it's going to be DJ for the show. And then we've got Davey over here as well. So, Davey, I think this is your 3rd time on the show.
Yeah,
you might be leading the group.
Well, that'd be good. I got to lead something.
Yeah. And, of course, DJ, we've been trying to get you on for a while, man. But glad you could finally make it.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, good stuff, man. We kind of pay attention to you there on social media. And I think you have a G-Wagon, you've got a backwards truck, you've got a condo in Miami. Guessing you wake up with no jammies. I don't know, is that Bruno thing going on down there? I mean, your baller status down there, brother.
I'm living the life, that's for sure. The backwards truck, though, I mean, that's technically his, right? But, you know, it's cool living down there, but at the end of the day, I hope to make Indiana my home again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do. I love it up here. I want to buy his house, and that's kind of what I'm working to do eventually.
Well, it's a sweet house. Have you been to the house?
I've seen all of the pictures of it and everything. He tried to sell it to me. How are you going to?
I don't know. I think I have an in. You know.
Yeah. So the house is gorgeous. What's the square footage of the house and of the shop?
So our shop's 6,500, and the house is 5,500. So they're too big of house, but not big enough shop.
But I love the way the shop is laid out. So you actually have a couple of bays there where you can pull tractor trailers.
Yeah,
in
we get our full tractor trailers in, drive in one side, drive out the other, and then have a work area and a machine shop, and it works out well for doing short track stuff. Anyways, yeah.
So great to have both of you in here. Obviously, an accomplished race car driver there, Davey Sr. with your Indycar career, modified career, open wheel career. We'll just go down that road. Many championships, and obviously your father, DJ, a 3rd generation here, but your father Ken, also an amazing reputation there, and of course in conjunction with the Pink Lady, and now 3rd gen driver and DJ, and you've been doing it for a while, man. I mean, starting off in karts and midgets and sprint cars and Silver Crown cars. Doing a little bit of homework. I totally forgot that you drove a K&N car. You have a start in a K&N car, Indy Lights. I mean, everything but the top level, and you've been scrapping away. But as of late, man, really successful in that sprint car.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's my racing career this year has probably been one of the best of my entire life. I started when I was 4 years old, so I'm 26 now. I feel like I'm a grandpa in racing. I mean, I've been doing it for so long, But no, lately, I mean, the sprint car world, I've been winning almost every race, for the most part. And I've just started to win some bigger races in my career. Winning the USAC race at St. Louis this past weekend was probably the biggest win in my career.
I heard you were lucky your dad didn't run.
Yeah, exactly. I was lucky. The car that he was supposed to race was actually pretty fast. So I think if he was in it, he probably would have given me a run for my money for sure.
So did you go up and loosen up the fuel pump? Is that on the
yeah, the other car. Yeah,
long
story how I didn't drive.
Sorry about.
I'll take care of Dad right now.
Yeah, we both didn't have time. We were from practice, and the race on Friday or Saturday was it rained out, so it changed the Sunday schedule to just be a chaos. And I do pace car rides for the IndyCar series, and he does the 2-seater rides, obviously. So when we're not in the Silver Crown car, it was just in a different car giving laps around the track. So we were just so busy that day, but it worked out. I ended up winning.
You know, a number of them drank buttermilk. I mean, they really liked it. I remember tasting it one time. I'm like, that is quite possibly the worst.
The Skinny is brought to you by Fatheads Eyewear. Fatheads Eyewear, hardcore since '04. And American Coach, innovation is our life force.
Welcome back to the Fatheads Eyewear Studios here in Speedway, Indiana. We have the Hamiltons in the studio with us. They live just a little bit west here, and say about 45 minutes or so west, so great to get them into the studio. We've been trying to get DJ in the studio for a little while, but his crazy racing schedule and all of our crazy schedules, it's just been a bit of a challenge, but it's good to finally get you in here and kind of touching base on what happened last weekend there at St. Louis. And let's go into it a little bit deeper, because you guys did have to battle weather. I know a lot of weather came through. You're on the radio, Davey Senior, with IndyCar. You already touched on this, DJ, that you drive the 2-seater.
Yep.
So you're giving rides out there. So the capacity is more than just showing up for the race. Obviously, he was racing, but were you racing a sprint car and a Silver Crown last weekend?
Yes, that not the same day, but yeah, the same weekend. Friday night, I ran a wing sprint car race in Birch Run, Michigan, with the Must See Racing Series, and that was my first win actually in that series. And Bobby Santos, he finished I think third that night. But you know, competing with those guys, those are the top in the business. So after that race was over, I drove 10 hours straight to St. Louis, thinking that we were going to do something on Saturday before the rain. But
well, you know, if you wouldn't have, you would have.
Exactly.
Right.
If you had said, I'm going to just take it easy, and it's like, hey, where are you, man? We're trying to get going here.
Exactly. But swept the weekend, and it's been a while since I've done that, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a big moment. And then, of course, you and Santos end up battling again in the Silver Crown race. He's an absolute machine. Of course, Cody Swanson, another machine. Racing those guys, it is the best of the best. And you and Swanson put on a heck of a show in 2022 at St. Louis, the IndyCar race, and Silver Crown cars were there. Were you able to learn anything there in 22 that you were able to use this year?
Yeah, I think in 2022, I just overdrove it. I was going too hard too soon. And, in Silver Crown, which Cody's got it down to an art, is just to last until the end, right? So this year, it was I just wanted to be there at the end. I didn't even want to lead as many laps as I did. I kind of wanted to just stay behind Cody and just draft and sit there until 20 to go and then go for it. But the car was just so good and comfortable that I was just, you know what, I'm going to go for it. And led every lap since that pass. So, and then another cool thing is that my motor was actually blowing up with 15 to go. So the fact that I even finished the race is pretty incredible.
So is that when it started puffing?
It started puffing, man, and it was a scary feeling because I thought we went yellow with like 5 laps to go, and I was like, oh, thank God, right? And we're going to finish this race under yellow. I'm going to win. And then they go on the radio like, oh no, it's a green, white checkered, we have to finish under green. Well, then I was like, because I didn't think my motor was going to last, but, it did somehow. And, able to win the race with about 150 horsepower less than anybody was pretty incredible.
So, and if we go back to 2022, you guys had a last minute caution flag, if I'm not mistaken, on that race as well. And a last minute restart. You were in second. I thought you were going to end up third. You almost got passed, but that was tire, right? Was the right rear tire like down to the cord?
Oh, yeah. I mean, with 10 laps to go, it was blistering so bad. I mean, the vibration. I thought I was going to wreck last year. It was really bad. But this year, it didn't seem like anybody had tire issues. And, I took it really easy. I mean, this race was one of the – I know this is going to sound really crazy, but it was a really easy race for me. I just felt comfortable and confident in the car, and it was just smooth sailing all day.
You talked that over with your car owner?
Oh yeah, they already want to bring me back for next year. That was our first. That was our first race back. Our first race together with that team. That was my first time ever racing a race with that team. So.
And who was it? What team was it?
Legacy Autosport.
Okay.
They hired me for Toledo, which was the previous Silver Crown race, but we only lasted 2.5 laps and the motor blew up. So we didn't really get a good feel for how the car works or runs.
Who is Legacy?
It's a team. They've
So
been
it-
around. Yeah.
So Legacy's a good, Mike Myers and Butch Myers.
That's what I thought. That's who
What-
Cody drove the USF car for.
Yeah, that's
Correct,
correct.
yes.
And then their grandfather, Louis Meyer, who won the 536. He's
Oh,
the
wow.
first one to ever drink.
Great grandpa.
Great grandpa.
Milk.
He's the first one to drink milk in Victory Lane, and that's how it was buttermilk.
And I was going to say, and it wasn't just regular milk; it was buttermilk.
And then Sonny Meyer, who when I was doing some stuff with Menard, run their midgets and stuff, he was the engine builder there. So a little bit of history. I mean, they got a lot of racing history for sure.
Wow.
And this is the first time that any car, the last car to win a Silver Crown race that wasn't a Beast chassis was 15 years ago, and it was Chet Phillip. So they built their own car. So this, so it's
Really?
been 15 years since a Beast chassis. That tells you how good Bob's cars are, the Beast cars. But it's the first time, so it's pretty incredible. They built their own car, and now they're building their own engines because the engine thing hasn't worked out too good for them. And which Sonny Meyer, we know, he built all those Menard engines that have, went so fast at Indy all those years. So it's a pretty exciting team for him as well. Yeah.
How would you think about drinking milk after you're burning hot?
Buttermilk. I don't think about
Buttermilk.
anytime ever, right? But
I
for
mean,
him,
let's just cut right to the curdled part.
pretty wild.
Let's have it right around with you.
I
for a
remember
few
that though
laps.
when I was a little kid. Like my grandparents, a number of them drank buttermilk. I mean, they really liked it. I remember tasting it one time. I'm like, that is quite possibly the worst thing I've.
Well,
ever.
I always have to have an AJ story, obviously, when I come in. AJ just eats the butter. You forget the milk, right? He'll just grab the butter and just go straight for the butter. So those all that's what he's good at that. I've seen that.
So the IndyCar Radio Network, we tried buttermilk. I don't know if you were there.
I
in the
missed
month
that,
of- So we tried it. It's like drinking liquified sour cream. Is kind of what it.
I'm telling you, it's
yeah.
horrible.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
It's just
And after
horrible.
who knows, that race had to be 5 or 6 hours long, right?
Right.
In 1936,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So
yeah.
you're wore out and drinking that.
And they didn't have ice like they have ice today.
No, that was that couldn't have been good. And who had it? Like I want some milk, and somebody brings it.
If I win this, you bring that buttermilk in here.
Yeah, right,
That's
like-
what I want.
Yeah, right.
Who calls that
But now
shot?
that made history, right? So he's out in Legacy Motorsports.
That's
Always
cool.
makes sense to me now after I
Yeah.
kind of researched it and stuff. And so really good guys and giving him a really good opportunity. And also, he doesn't say much either, but how fortunate he is to have a sprint car owner, Kirk Morgan, and Todd Schmidt and Luigi, his crew guy. There's just 3 of them on that car. And that thing, it's at my house right now. It looks like brand new every time I go.
Getting some secrets off of it?
we,
You
you know,
taking
they-
some measurements?
No, well, I just want to drive the spare car every
Take the
now and then, so I'm
dampers
good.
off and send them out, have them dynoed, find out where they're at.
But and all about success is being in the best, right? And I feel that he's really got an opportunity right now being in the best teams out there. And you know, it's not just a driver. You have to have success of the team and knowledge and the support. And so right now he has all the support behind him, and him winning obviously excites all of us. As for my dad calls up, say, how'd it go? He didn't, he just, I'm trying to get him on the internet still, my dad, right?
Your dad?
Yeah,
Good luck with that.
a little behind, but
Yeah.
and another thing with him, he got inducted in the Sprint Car Hall of Fame this year. So
Oh, that's
pretty,
awesome.
pretty cool too to have him. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'll never see that honor, but because I didn't do that many sprint cars in my day, but that was really cool to have him in the Hall of Fame as well.
Hold tight. We got plenty more, man. And you people hold tight as well, because we don't know where this thing's going to go, as you can see with these guys in the studio. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
So they decided to give me a chance at Toledo, and they were so impressed, I guess, with the 2.5 laps that I did, that they wanted to bring me back for more.
Welcome back to Speedway, Indiana, the Fatheads Eyewear Studios. I'm Ken Stout. The big man alongside that is Rico Elmore. The track dude and the Hamiltons are in the studio with us. Excited to have them here as well, of course. And you guys are just talking about legacy and, of course, the history behind that team. I'm curious how it came about. Was it Dad? Was it you? Did they come to you? Like, how did it happen?
Yeah, so actually, my main spotter, Dwayne Elwinger, he's known across everything. He's the craziest guy I know, to be honest. But
He's got some amazing stories.
He's got some stories, man. But no, the team, they had I'll just call it a fallout, I guess, with the previous driver that was driving for them. And right before the Winchester Silver Crown race, they were looking for a driver to fill up their seat for the rest of the year. They didn't think I was available because I was driving for my dad at the time. And Dwayne told them that, no, DJ's a free driver. He's just driving for his dad because he can right now. So they decided to give me a chance at Toledo, and they were so impressed, I guess, with the 2.5 laps that I did, that they wanted to bring me back for more.
Take what you can get. Doesn't take much sometimes.
Must have really done it up there, the 2.5.
Track
like
record?
that.
I mean, what'd you do in that?
I don't know, but
It's like if we multiply that times 100, it's going to be amazing.
Exactly, right? So, and then, our St. Louis ended up being our first race, and, it was just a perfect day all around. The sponsors were all happy, and now they're talking about doing a lot more stuff with me continuing into next year. So we'll see what happens.
Awesome. So full schedule, you think, dirt and asphalt?
No dirt, I don't think, for next year. I think it's just going to be more pavement Silver Crown. They're going to custom build their own sprint car, non-wing sprint car, that we're going to go compete in the Little 500 together. They want to get a pavement midget. And then, as you know, I mean, I still want to go for that Indy Lights ride, right? That's something that I'm going to keep going for and keep going after my dreams. So hopefully, if everything goes right, I'll still do or hopefully do some Indy Lights stuff. Do the Silver Crown and non-wing sprint car and midget with Legacy Autosport, and then do wing sprint car racing with Kirk Morgan Racing. And if you put all that together, that's a pretty busy schedule.
Super cool, man. Going back to 2022, you're talking about this year has been your best racing season. But if we go back into 2022, dude, you were racking them up there. And I know you won 10 in a row, maybe more. But was the 10 in a row an extension from 2022 into 23?
Yeah, it was. I mean, with all the wins that I did have in 2022, I still was I don't know if this is the right word, but winningest sprint car driver in the country. So having the most wins, I think we ended up with 8 or 9. But yeah, we had 10 wins in a row, but that was a continuous from 2022 to 2023.
My wife's made fun of me for using that word for 20 years. I'm not sure it's in Webster's dictionary, but that's what we all, they might as well put it in there because we all say winning.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we ended up getting the Southern Sprint Car Series championship last year, the King of the Wing championship again. And then we did some non-wing racing as well, got some wins there. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool, and I love the winged asphalt racing. Obviously, we had the pleasure of racing with you guys there for a couple of years.
It was fun having, Stouts and Hamiltons were teamed up for a while there.
Yeah,
so Robert did a great job in sprint cars too. I mean, he really did do a good job.
15 and 16, but oh my God, those things, I mean, if you haven't seen them, fans, I'm telling you, if you get a chance to go watch the winged sprint cars on asphalt, put on a show. I mean, we're talking about 900 horsepower monsters, and you guys, given the right track, if it has any banking at all, I remember being in Pensacola, I think it was, and qualifying, and they were on the mat all the way around, man. And it's just like, you have got to be kidding me.
Like slot cars.
Yeah. It almost looks fake. Yeah. They're going so fast.
You don't want to lift. If you do lift, you're slow.
Lift, you lose. Lift, you lose. They say in wing sprint cars, lift, you lose.
Yeah, I remember Robert. I think he started off on, I don't know if he was in the front row or the second row at Pensacola, and they threw the green flag, and Troy DeCare went 3 wide and passed the whole bunch. I'm like, where's he going?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going by. That's what I'm doing.
It's a lot of fun, a lot of talent in that series, right? And the one thing, in today's environment, everybody wants to go IndyCar racing, and open wheel guys. But getting there is a different avenue, right, today, and that's through Indy Lights or 2000. It used to be back, you look at AJ and Rutherford's and Unsers and Mario, they all came up through what he's doing, right? And so you'd like to hope that there's a little bit of opportunity still with the short track guys, because they all want to do it. It's just how to get into IndyCar. It's hard. He won, and now he's going, oh, hang on. Like, what's going on? He goes, he won't stop.
You're looking at a multi-time asphalt wing sprint car driving champion. That is Davey Hamilton Jr. We call him DJ, sitting right alongside his dad, Davey Hamilton Sr., of course. You finished second in the points how many times? 3 times in IndyCar?
Twice.
Twice?
Yeah,
Stewart cheated the one year.
Stewart cheated, got 1 championship. The other one's to Brack. And then I got a 4th, and, we had a lot of top 10s, right? I mean, it was a long IndyCar career, but actually short because I have injuries, didn't get to race as much as I hoped, and but still, we do what we can. You deal with what you're dealt and do the best you can. And we were in the opportunity to win some Indy 500s. I ran 4th Indy 500, and that year I ran fourth. We had the opportunity to win it, and I stalled it in the pits. And so you learn from mistakes, right? And unfortunately, didn't get that 500 one, but they're hard to get. You know, ask Michael Andretti, right? I mean,
yeah.
Stout almost had one on a team he was on. He almost
They
felt the
refused
ring.
to let up on.
Well,
him
I still
about
want a
this.
ring, but now I hope he, you know, can
I
pawn one.
still want a ring too. Can you talk to Dixon?
Not trying to put any pressure on you, DJ.
Yeah,
but
right.
Your dad still is looking for that ring.
I know.
Yeah. If you're gonna do that, by the way, let me know. I'll go to turn 3. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, Dwayne, you could use a ring, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Great stuff, man. You know, you brought up something, of course, that nasty wreck that you had. Do you remember any of that, DJ?
I don't, unfortunately. I don't know. I was
Be
4 years
fortunate.
old.
Yeah.
I mean, I know
Oh,
you,
right,
were,
yeah,
you were super
right.
young at the time, but I just
Yeah.
didn't know if you remembered all the recovery time and seeing your dad go through it.
You know, there's just little memories here and there. I mean, I started my racing journey about the same time.
Same time, really, yeah.
So, and I was traveling at a really young age by myself too. But I remember like him being in a wheelchair and doing crutches and, you know, stuff like that. But
And you thought, man, I want to do this.
well, I don't want to be in crutches. But yeah, I mean, you know, it's one thing when you learn to be a race car driver at like 10 years old, but when you learn at 4 years old, that's really all you know. I mean, luckily that's what I could do right now because I don't know what else I'd do in my life. You know?
So his first race was my dad was with him in Idaho. I'm here in the hospital. And my dad I'm on the phone. I go, call me when he's racing. So he's calling. He's giving me the play-by-play. And he says, oh, he's leading it. And he's going on. And he goes, hey, he won. And now he's going, oh, hang on. I go, what's going on? He goes, he won't stop. He just kept going. Race is over. He kept going, right? He's still racing. He didn't want to stop. So that was his first race.
Security lab right off the bat, man.
Yeah.
I've seen this before.
Yeah.
That's great.
So, yeah.
That's pretty amazing. So, how long had it been since your accident? I mean,
So
day
it
to
was
day.
literally like a month and a half after.
Oh,
I think
wow.
I got hurt in June. I think this was like August, maybe his first go-kart. And it was my dad, right, of course, getting him going in it and kind of taking over and getting him a go-kart. And the first race I know was that track my dad had at Meridian Speedway. So he tested out there a lot, but his first race he was able to win it. So it was pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool. I mean, yeah, you had no choice, dude. Coming up with your grandfather and your father. I mean, it was on, and your uncle.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
everybody in sprint cars.
Yeah.
Our whole family.
Yeah,
right?
really, yeah.
The entire family was race car drivers. But and then we had to start lying about my age too to progress, you know, into the higher levels. But it worked out, man. I mean, hopefully I get to Indy though, like he did, and you know, or just attempt the 500 once in my lifetime. That's my goal. I just want to get there once, and you know, show that there's still a route from short track racing to get to the 500 because unfortunately lately it's really not there anymore. You know, I think Brian Clausen is probably the last.
Brian probably was the last one, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask that, and that's what we teased going to break. With all the success, you know, have any doors open, and especially with a win like the Silver Crown win, with the IndyCar drivers there. Indy Next was also there. So all of those teams are in-house, but and this question really is for both of you. I just often wonder if talent even translates anymore. I mean, I know they're watching, but if you don't bring a checkbook, I don't think it matters how good you are.
Yeah, that's a fact. I mean, just look. All you have to do is look at the history books, right, on how and who gets there, and a checkbook's going to get you there, and whether you're good, bad, or indifferent. So I think the good point on his side, he's winning in everything he's racing. So at least he has opportunity to say, to try to raise that money by going, hey, I've won this, I won this. Here's where I want to go. Maybe try to get that support. Obviously, he doesn't have the family money, you know, to be able to take him in there. So he has to get it from outside sources, and you know, that's just the way it works. And then once you prove yourself there, obviously, a lot of people have, from Colton to Scotty Dixon. I mean, a lot of guys that we know they're good, and then we know and then you can start making money. But it's that catch-22 just to get in there. And back to what I talked about, you got to be the good team. Right? If you're with a bad team, you're going to finish where the bad teams finish. You have to be with a good team and have the whole package together. And today's environment in IndyCar, from when I ran, it's more difficult. We didn't have simulators. We didn't have all the data that they have today to be able to look at different segments and where everybody's who's fastest in what segment and where to gain it and all the footage that you have, and then spending time in simulators that are really good nowadays that can simulate a track, even the bumps in it. So those drivers of today, there's more work to put in than I had to because we didn't have all the tools. So it's a job, but if you want to do it bad enough, you know, you got to just keep fighting to get it, and then you hope that you get some supporters. And I think he is getting some calls. You know, he's done this all on his own. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I've helped. My dad got him started. I helped him through the middle, but everything that he's given. Matter of fact, he called me when Legacy called him and said, "Hey, I had an offer of the Silver Crown car. You know, wait, you know, I don't want to. You okay with it? Well, that's a pay raise for me. You know,
out of mine, I can stop shelling out and let somebody.
And I think it's important that people know that he's available, that he'll drive anything. It's not just a family because we don't have the funding. And I think if you look at Malukas right now, he did the same thing. He has family money. He's with a family team, Coyne and his dad team together, and he came out and said, "No, I'm going somewhere different. You know, I mean, I want to show that I'm available. I'm out there, and I want to try to get higher in my career." And that Malukas kid obviously he was on the podium when he ran third, I think, last weekend.
He's been really
plenty good, right?
St. Louis.
But he had the family money to give him the opportunity. Then he's proven that he is the real deal. So that's hopefully we can kind of do that same thing with him. All I seen was a tailpipe and people beside me, and you can't put a wheel wrong or you're going to crash, right? And yeah, wasn't that great? I go, no.
The Skinny is brought to you by American Coach. American Coach, innovation is our life force. And Fatheads Eyewear. Fatheads Eyewear, hardcore since '04.
Welcome back to the Skinny. We have the Hamiltons on the show here, both DJ and Senior. Good to have them here as well. So much insight from Senior and also from Junior, who's scrapping his way up, trying to make it to the big leagues here as well, doing very, very good. And we were just talking about your success and how that can possibly parlay into the big leagues. Here's what I would throw at you guys. When we were talking about doing good, I mean, just because you have the talent's not going to get you there. But if you have the talent and you can win at a place like St. Louis, like you did last weekend, Indycar there, Indy Lights are there, all of those sponsors are there with their cars, and maybe somebody that's finishing mid-pack takes a look and says, how about that kid right there? Can we put that kid in the car? Talks to his team owner, and then maybe it comes that way. Winning those big prestigious events is very important.
Yeah, well, I mean, he knows I am persistent. I don't care to hear no from anybody when I'm trying to get sponsorship or an opportunity. So I'm not going to name who, but there is a IndyCar team in particular that they spend quite a bit of money on IndyCar racing, and I have been blowing their phones up for the past year and just trying to get a chance. And I thought I had an Indy Lights deal, Indy Next deal for 2023. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but they were there at St. Louis, and they were one of the first ones to come and congratulate me. And I kept saying, and just saying, hey, you could be on this car. We could, do more stuff together. And but one of the coolest texts that I received from the weekend was from Sam Schmidt. I didn't know he was paying attention or watching, but he was, and he reached out to me, so that was pretty cool. But I am very persistent, and luckily for having Dad involved with the IndyCar series, I'm involved in it as well, to where I still reach out to a lot of those guys and stay in touch with everybody and keep my name in the loop, because who knows, maybe one day I'll get the opportunity.
Yeah, and I think, well, obviously you drove for Sam, but I mean, Sam Schmidt, I promise you Mike Hull's paying attention.
Yeah.
Promise you Shank's paying attention. I mean, they're watching.
Well, matter of fact, Shank, as soon as he walked into the track, you turn right to go to the IndyCar paddock, and you turn left to go to the Silver Crown, and he came right over. He goes, "Are you driving one of these?" And the intention was to. I thought we were going to, but he had a little breakdown. And he went over to Dorian, who they ran sports cars with, and he was there for a good half hour or more. And then I seen Grosjean looking in the cockpit of one of the cars, and so it gets attention. And hopefully we could do more of that, with the Indy cars and short track racing like Silver Crown. I know they're going back to Milwaukee next year, it looks like. Iowa is a great track for Silver Crown cars, and there's some places that they could team up. And I just think it's a good avenue for these owners to look at, outside of, just the few. Well, Indy Next, really. That's the only thing they really gets to race with them. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
It's been amazing to watch DJ come through and watch the Silver Crown and everything that he's been coming to. And Davey and I were talking. about the show that they had at St. Louis. It was a great race, and the IndyCar race kind of got strung out. The drivers were complaining they couldn't pass, and I was just thinking, when you drove, in your opinion, which was more difficult, pack racing or the racing that we had where it was just difficult to find a way to get around somebody?
So that's a good question, actually. But pack racing, I don't think you have time to even be nervous because you're so busy the entire time. I remember Texas, the first year we went to Texas, and it was the first real pack race. And we're 2-3 wide the whole time, and you're nose to tail, and there's 30 of us going around there for the entire race. And mentally, it was straining. And I ended up third in that race, second or third in that race. And Al Jr. was second or third. I can't remember. We were second or third. I can't remember who won. But after the race, we're going to the interview room afterwards. I go, what was that? Like what was? All I seen was a tailpipe and people beside me, and you can't put a wheel wrong or you're going to crash, right? And he goes, yeah, wasn't that great? I go, no, it wasn't really that great. You know, I mean, I wasn't used to that kind of racing. And then, but you go to a place like Phoenix, and people say Phoenix is sometimes tough to pass, but I loved it because you have to find your way and you have to work it. And that's like St. Louis. You can do it. It's just difficult. So I think that puts some driver ability back into it.
So which do you prefer? Would you want more downforce, or do you like what the drivers do?
I think less downforce, more power is me. I like having to lift in the corners and give car control and having to drive it. I don't like where you're just wide open around the track.
Says the guy from a super modified.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, there you go.
I mean, honestly, that's all I could think about when you were telling a story. Like, that's your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Coming out of the short track racing, open wheel racing, the modifieds where you were just absolutely magical. But that's what you guys did. You had to find a way around.
Yeah, big horsepower, low downforce. As a matter of fact, if you look at the St. Louis back to, he was 184 mile an hour straightaway speed, 184.
Wow.
And his times were in the 30-second bracket. And if you look at the race times for IndyCar, they're in the 27-second bracket.
What were Indy Next cars? Do you remember?
Indy Next cars were in the 29, 30-second bracket.
So
Same thing,
equivalent.
right?
Yeah.
Equivalent. But difference is he's going 185 down the straightaway and having to no handle. There's zero handle characteristic to no downforce at all in a Silver Crown. So they're hanging on in the corners where lights or the next. They're probably 160 down the straightaways, but they're 100
through the turns.
50, yeah, right. They're a lot faster in the corners. So it's just a whole different environment, a whole different element. But going that fast in a car that anytime I get in a sprint car, Silver Crown car, I feel like I'm in a high chair, compared to IndyCar.
Well, I'll never forget the explanation because I didn't understand how much downforce the lights cars and the next cars had. Well, I had the older, I had an 09 Sam Schmidt championship winning car.
Yeah, that's right.
Robert drove, and we went to Barber and we were testing, and he went through that high speed, what is it, 11, 12?
Yep.
And where the compression is, and said he physically could not turn the wheel anymore. It was that heavy.
Yeah.
We could have lightened it up a little bit, but he had to have his entry point 11 perfect so that he could stay on the throttle through the next turn.
Yeah.
Otherwise, had to get out of the throttle and you lose all your lap time. But I remember you telling me that the under tray on the lights car made more downforce than the big wing on the sprint car did.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. It's crazy how that underwing works, right? I mean, these engineers that make the bottom of the car give more downforce and grip to the racetrack than the big top wing. But it does, and it's a different style. He'll find out. He's ran an Indy Lights, we know that, so he has an idea of what they're about. But just the way you position the rear engine, they handle different. They have a lot more corner speed, so that's something that his wing sprint car, as you said, they're fast. They get through the corner. Good, and his corner speed's really good right now. So hopefully that transfers over in the next level.
Some of the insight here going on from these two drivers. If you're going to make it in this thing, sometimes you got to branch out and get out of your comfort zone. Maybe do something a little bit different. We're going to talk about that when we come back.
You're sponsoring the event. You're the title sponsor.
Yes. Welcome back one more time to the Fatheads Eyewear Studios here in Speedway, Indiana. This is the Skinny. We have the Hamiltons in the studio with us and have been talking about his young racing career, the success, talking about some of the differences in the cars with his father, who is so accomplished as well behind the wheel. Also, his father's a pretty good promoter. He's been down that road a little bit, but DJ is dipping his toes into that stream, if you will. You have a pretty big race you're putting together out there in Vegas, and it's going to be a bunch of really, really good sprint car drivers.
Yeah, actually, I think Grandpa was a promoter too, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
all three.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he had racetrack for
you
20
guys
years.
owning,
Yeah.
the track out there in Des Moines.
And Idaho, in Boise, yeah.
So I'm the youngest, definitely from a promoter standpoint. But for the past couple of years, I've just been wondering why there's no big wing pavement sprint car race that has proper money to go race for. You know, you see dirt racing all the time that are racing for, well, now $1 million, which is insane. But with what we do, it's such a cool thing to do, and there's just nothing out there. And then, you know, as a kid growing up watching like Turkey Night and, you know, all the open wheel guys coming together to do one awesome event, and, you know, watching the old videos of Copper World Classic with him racing it, you know, it doesn't exist anymore. So I just wanted to see what it would take to make something happen. And there's a lot of people and a lot of moving parts that were able to come together to do this. It's called the Davey Hamilton Jr.'s Open Wheel Showdown out in Vegas at the Bull Ring, December 1st and 2nd. But it allows the wing sprint cars to compete for some serious money. $50,000 to win. We have 50 sprint cars entered right now, which it seems like we're going to be capped out at 75, which is the most pavement sprint cars that have ever been at an event ever. So, and then we're going to have a $10,000 to win midget race, which we're already hearing, and I think there's going to be some big names from the NASCAR world that are going to go out there and do that show. And then we're going to add super modified so we could see him and Grandpa go at it out there. And
you better get Stewart in his. I saw that car you built.
Seen it have out there. I know what I tell him all the time, man. But I don't think that ever leave his show little building over there in Columbus. It's a beautiful car. It turned out good. I'm proud of it.
Call him out. Yeah. Call him out, man. You get him wound up, he'll pull it out.
Well, we did offer him a sprint car ride. We're waiting to hear back, so we'll see what happens there.
Checking his schedule.
And Grandpa, you said so is Grandpa still?
He's still racing that super modified. Matter of fact, he got inducted in the Hall of Fame, and they're talking about, you know, everything that he has done, and you know, and he's 84 years old, but what they missed when they inducted him was he just had won the week before, the Pink Lady, and he runs that in the Vintage Series, and he whips up on her. He gets fast time and wins the heat, man. He's 84, has fun. That's his comfort zone. But he bought the old Pink Lady Super Modified, and he's been racing it the last couple of years. He was actually fast time in that. The last time they ran, he had some issues, didn't finish well, but still had some speed. And he's called me the last few days. They're working on it right now. There's a race in Madera, California at the end of September. And he's getting it all ready to go race down to California.
He
I think
is
they got
a badass.
I know, it's just crazy.
84 years. I remember telling Robert he out-qualified him at Meridian.
Yeah.
I said, you let that old man out-qualify you? And he looked at me, he said, he almost out-qualified the entire field. Don't just blame me. But yeah, I mean, he's crazy good.
Still does it, man. Keeps him young. You know, at 84, keeps him young. I'm happy. You know, obviously, we all slow down as we get older, but he still has that drive and passion to race, and he still wants to win, so it's pretty cool.
Super cool. So back to the event. Those dates, is it in conjunction with anything else that's going to be there? It's just a standalone?
It is a standalone. I mean, we don't compete with anything that weekend. There's no IndyCar, no NASCAR, no F1. There's
Outlaws, nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. So it's a perfect weekend for everybody to come out there. Actually, there's one race in Florida. It's the Snowball Derby. It's a stock car race.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, we're exactly right. Like, what is that?
They still do that?
Yeah. Different world.
Honestly, yeah, those drivers, they really don't cross over.
No, they don't.
Those drivers are chasing a completely different goal.
And that's an event, right, that's grown to be famous and
it's
well-known and big
massive.
money and big drivers, and that's the same thing he's trying to do. Just get and matter of fact, Collins, Gary Collins, the Collins family, you know, have Bakersfield Speedway, and they still have Kern County that they take care of out there. And they were part of the Copper Classic. They all raced in it. They know what it was about. And back then it was sprint cars, Silver Crown, Super Modifieds, and midgets. And late models. And he owns the SRL late model series. So he's already next year going, hey, what do we have to do to get late models in there? So it's pretty interesting. You know, it's all him.
Where is it, at Vegas?
Yeah, Vegas at the Bull Ring. So
you'll have your trailer set up there and everything.
Yeah. You'll be there. You're sponsoring the event. You're the title sponsor.
With that, we'll take a quick break and we'll let them sort things out and get contracts going. We'll be right back.
Want to get the skinny on other guests and different types of motorsports? Check out our YouTube page and get the skinny. The Skinny is brought to you by Fatheads Eyewear. Fatheads Eyewear, hardcore since '04. And American Coach. American Coach, innovation is our life force.
Welcome back to The Skinny. I'm Ken Stout. Rico Elmore sitting alongside just found out that he's going to be the title sponsor for Davey Hamilton's sprint car race out in Vegas. Pretty cool, $50,000 to win. So that's pretty cool, bud.
Thanks. I think that's what you're supposed to say.
And he said he's relentless, so the barrage is coming.
I'm just glad you're the one that got a hold of these two. But he does have my number.
He's smart. He went this way.
Yeah.
Hey, man, talk to me, both of you guys. I know you're involved with Kingdom Racing. Tell the people what that's about and how involved you are.
Yeah, so it's a great business that we put together back in the day. George Del Canto was one of my sponsors on my comeback, and Kingdom Racing is a foundation he's put together for underprivileged, to be honest with you. So we sometimes have veterans, the homeless veterans, to injured veterans, or to kids without parents that they lost in unfortunate situations, or just so many different kinds of people. So we go to churches, the YMCA's, a lot of people. We're mostly IndyCar events. We're going to do one in Vegas as well, his event. So obviously it takes money to make that happen, to try to get these kids, bring them to the racetrack, and these families that sometimes people that are ill, they don't have much time to live, whether it's cancer, a lot of terrible things. And so,
is it just IndyCar or any?
No,
kind of
we
racing?
do any kind of. We've done Outlaws before. We've done sprint cars, King of the Wing. We do IndyCar. Just where there's a big event, drag racing would be good as well, and just bring these families to these events and just show them a good time. Say, you know what, just come, no expectations, and Tim Carey runs the program along with George Del Canto, and we just have a good time. Bring them there, have lunch, and let them sit in race cars. Let them watch race, something they've never done before, and just try to show them a little bit of brightness, through the world of motorsports. So yeah, we've been doing that quite a while now.
I love it. I had a pleasure of meeting Tim, I think, back when we were running sprint cars with you, and they did come to a number of events. Now, it was always in conjunction with IndyCar, but we were running Mazda MX-5 Cup at the time.
Yeah.
But he would bring a group by. We'd say, absolutely, bring them over. And McCumbee McAleer Racing was the team that we were with. Absolutely wonderful people. But he would bring a group of kids around more times than not. And it's exactly what you said. It's kids that have never been to a race. They've never been to a racetrack. They don't understand the lifestyle. They didn't even know these opportunities exist.
Yeah.
So to see them open their eyes to the possibilities of being involved in something like this, or who knows what, it's just a wonderful thing to be part of.
And a great thing, we keep track of everybody that comes and kind of follow them and help them or talk to them in any way. And we've had, some of the kids to go to mechanic courses and mechanic classes to say, hey, how do I get to IndyCar? And I go, first you got to know a car. So they say, hey, I got a job at a mechanic shop. I'm learning. Or someone wants to say, talk about engineering. They're creative people. They just don't have the opportunity just to have the family or whatever behind them to support. And then we've had the ones that that have passed per se. That we try to lift the rest of the family up because of they didn't make it through their illness or whatever it was. And so it's George came up with the concept. It's great. We try to spread the word. Because God's been good to all of us, but don't want to ramp down anybody's throat. We just want to show them that there's opportunity out there through the sport that we love.
How many people do you think you guys have touched over the years?
Oh man, I like to say it's in the 1,000 range, but if not, it's
safely
it's just Tim does. He could tell you more than I, and it's just an honor to have them at the racetrack and let them just see the smiles on their face. We always give them the Kingdom Racing T-shirts, and hey, these drivers from Rafa Matos to obviously DJ's part of it, and Cody Swanson, and a lot of different people that when we bring them around, not just IndyCar drivers, but there's a lot of open arms to people that reach out to them.
Yeah, really cool program. I applaud you guys for stuff like that, and it means so much, to the outside. For people, we're pretty privileged. We work really hard, all of us. You guys work extremely hard to do what you do. So nothing's given to you, but to still find time to give back is so important.
Yeah, and that's really kind of there's a lot of charities out there that we try to get people say, if our charity is help Kingdom Racing because it takes money to get all this done, right? People got to fly around, and we got to buy food and tickets. And Firestone, by the way, has been outstanding. I'll give us everything we need at IndyCar races, and we have a lot of people that just donate to try to help these families and these kids or veterans or whoever it may be. So, if anybody's ever interested to help out, just go to kingdomracing.com.
Super cool, man. Great to have you guys in the studio. Time flies by. When we get cats in here like you two that just fun to be around. Great stories, good energy. One more time, tell the fans about your race, the date, how to pay attention to it.
Yep. Davey Hamilton Jr.'s Open Wheel Showdown, December 1st and 2nd. And for anybody that's interested in going or participating, just go to openwheelshowdown.com.
And if I'm not mistaken, you have Shaheen involved. So is it going to be on Speed Sport?
Yeah, it's gonna be broadcasted on Speed Sport, and Ralph's doing the whole broadcasting of it, and he's endorsed the event, so it should be pretty big.
Yeah, that's super cool. So congratulations on that, guys. Thanks for coming in, man.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
The Skinny here on the Hamiltons, both the original and junior. We'll see you next time.